to sewer conversion efforts and the implementation of the Clean Waterways Act, which was approved by the legislature during last year's session. The act, in part, moved regulation of the 2.6 million septic tanks in the state from the Department of Health to the Department of Environmental Protection. It also required utilities to develop inspection, maintenance, and replacement plans for their wastewater systems, and required the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to perform on-site verification of agricultural best management practices every 2 years. Now, several environmental groups are seeking stronger measures, unsuccessfully pushed for DeSantis to veto the bill. Senate President William Simpson has called for lawmakers in the 2021 session to pump more money into the programs. The Senate is scheduled to hold meetings over 4 days next week as it begins preparing for their annual legislative session.
Are you stuck inside but looking for bargains on new and secondhand goods? Try HighBid.com, the online auction site for just about anything. HighBid.com offers a safe and easy way to find hundreds of thousands of items for sale every day. From rare coins to fine jewelry, tools to vintage toys, and classic cars to real estate, HighBid.com has it all. HighBid.com makes it easy to find what you're looking for, and the site is simple to use. Come to HighBid.com, that's HIBID.com, and start discovering great deals today.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
We'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine today with a high of 73 to 76. Mostly cloudy tonight with occasional rain and a thunderstorm late and a low of 55 to 63. Look for partly cloudy skies Friday and Saturday. High on Friday, 67 to 74. High on Saturday, 62 to 66. Mostly sunny Sunday, high 64 to 66. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Oh, hey, Grandpa. Oh, hey, Grandpa. Hey, Grandpa.
Yes, buddy?
Can you take me fishing this weekend?
I'd love to.
Have you noticed a change in your hearing over the years? Missing the little things in life? Visit Beneficial Hearing in Ocala today. Their expert team of audiologists will make sure you never miss a moment. Call Beneficial Hearing today at 352-629-4418 or visit them online, beneficialhearing.com.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to Ocala Talks. I am Tom Schmitz. I'm coming to you from the studios of WOCA Radio, just outside the food court entrance to the Paddock Mall in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida, in the greatest country known to man, the United States of America. But boy, it'd be hard to make that argument to the world today. Scott, the phone lines. I'm joined by Galen Unall from Life South, as I am every day, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring and Palm Garden. Galen, a little different feel this morning than the last time I felt this disgusted with something. I think I was disgusted with the terrorist acts that took place on 9/11. Was the last time I was this disgusted about happenings in our nation.
Yeah, I understand that feeling. You just have this, and the downside is it could have all been avoided in my eyes. Whereas the terrorism, those people
that couldn't have been avoided. Yeah, they were going to do what they were going to do.
So it's sad. Rhetoric matters. And I've said on this show many times that a lot of what Trump says, I don't take seriously, and I take, I kind of make it. I think it's funny, but that all changed after the election and he lost. It became much more than just him poking fun at the media. It became much more than him poking fun at another politician. He really started. To me, it changed. You're allowed to have an issue with the election. You're allowed to question how they were able to change the rules in Pennsylvania. But that was all settled in a court of law. And once it was settled in a court of law, then as a country, we have to move on and say, okay, is the system perfect? Is it the best in the world? Yes. So we have to move on. And I think Trump, he just kept fueling that fire, and it spilled over into the Capitol yesterday, and it was a disgusting sight. And I've had multiple people reach out to me and say, oh, but that was led by Antifa. Look at these pictures. Okay, doesn't matter. The optics and the timing have destroyed whatever legacy Trump would have left, whether that was peace in the Middle East or whatever else you think that he accomplished is now gone and tarnished by yesterday. And the part that bothers me, and then I'll get off my soapbox, the part that bothered me yesterday is once that raid started, why did it take him so long to come out with a message and say stop? Because he apparently has ultimate control over those individuals, right? Those individuals who were at that rally would pretty much do whatever he told them to do. And he was silent. And that's the part that bothers me.
I will tell you that the rioters began grappling with the police on the Capitol steps at 1:10 p.m. I have the timeline right here in front of me. At 1:10 p.m., they started grappling. It was at 2:24, a whole hour and 14 minutes. No, 2:38, excuse me. 2:38, a whole hour and 28 minutes later that you heard from the president for the first time. And all he did was he went to Twitter and said, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. A whole hour and 28 minutes after Bubba, Earl, and Beulah decided to kick in the doors of the Capitol.
Correct. And again, it's as a Republican and as a conservative, you know, some of the images I saw where there are people sitting in, you know, the Speaker of the House chair or sitting on Senator's desk.
The guy that went to Nancy Pelosi's office taking selfies and then left a note, this isn't over. That guy should have his ass locked up. Locked up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just disgusting. And I think you said it right. It's a dark day for America. But I mean, we've had darker days. You know, I mean, we did have a civil war.
Yeah, which it looks like we may be on the precipice of again. If he doesn't dial back the rhetoric, but he could very easily through rhetoric escalate this instead of dialing it back if he chose to.
He could try to start a coup, and I think that's dramatically different than the Civil War. Right, the Civil War was a formal process,
right?
That the states banded together and
that's not going to happen again.
Now, if he wants to start a coup, I'd find it hard to believe that he would have the military to back him.
Are you ready for this?
I've served in the military. And yes, they are all, not all, let's say they're 75% Republicans, and they believe in the country, and they believe in the Constitution, and therefore they would never support a coup.
And that's the thing. That's what's getting lost in all of this, is we were doing a constitutional formality yesterday. That's all.
That's it.
There was not going to be any change of electoral counts. It was a constitutional formality. Let me key in on the word formality.
Yeah.
Mike Pence's job, and for Trump to call him a coward. See, I
hate that.
I hate
that too.
Today's an easy day of radio for me because I don't even have to prepare. I just have to open my mouth and go. Okay? For him to call Pence a coward, you know what Pence's job was yesterday? This is what people don't seem to understand, and I'm going to explain it because I know a lot of intelligent people listen to this show, but I'm going to explain it for the third grade mentality that listens to this show because they're out there. Okay? This is for you third grade mentality that thinks what happened yesterday was acceptable because I know some of you morons are out there. So let me explain to you what Pence's job was yesterday. Pence's job was to be like any actor you see at the Academy Awards. His job was to walk out on stage, have the envelope from whatever accounting service does the tallying, open the envelope and say the winner is. That was his job, period. Nothing more, nothing less. That was Mike Pence's job. And he didn't screw up the name. He knew how to say Ezekiel Azalea or whatever name. He knew how to say all those. Okay? That was Pence. People act like Pence could turn this. Trump had everybody thinking Pence could, with a stroke of a gavel, change this whole thing. He couldn't. His job, the only job he has, is vice president. By the way, Al Gore did the same job in a losing effort to when he was president. Al Gore was running for president and had to preside over the electoral college count that showed that he wasn't president. Okay? This isn't new, but you know what they do? Your job is to open the envelope and say, here's the count, here's the winner, bang the gavel, he shall be president, and then it's over. And that didn't happen yesterday because of a bunch of morons with their cartons of 305s wrapped up, folded up into their sleeves, enveloping themselves in Trump flags, acting like, ooh, I almost dropped it. I almost dropped the word, Galen.
Let's not do that. Yeah, that's not who we are.
No,
it's not. It's not who we are. If you even go back to, the tax. Oh, I forgot their name. The tax people. We would never do that. That's not what the conservative movement in this country is about. We're about the rule of law, and we want the freedom to protest. I had no problem with the protest. None. But you can't breach the Capitol. You just can't. You can't do that. That's a step too far. That is a step too far to get out there and to break it. And what they should have done, and this is what I've made very clear to several people who have reached out. I said the real conservatives, the real Republicans should have stopped it. They should have said, "You will go no further." The Tea Party was never violent.
Never.
They would never, they cleaned up after themselves. And that's what most of these protests are usually are, right? They clean up after themselves.
Now
They lost a lot of the country.
Let's be clear.
And I don't know how the RNC recovers from it.
Let's be clear. There were rough estimates, between 700,000 and 1 million people in Washington yesterday. We're talking about a group that was at estimates, CNN estimates versus Fox News estimates. Fox says 7,000. I'm at 5,000. CNN says 7,000. So I'm going to take the middle. There was somewhere around 6,000 people that advanced on the Capitol. So we're not talking about everybody who was there peacefully protesting what they thought was a sham of an election, okay? And that's their right to do. I'm talking about the knuckleheads who took it too far, who were showboating, who had the Secret Service drawing their weapons on them as they tried to breach the chamber. The young lady who lost her life because she went into the Capitol saying this wasn't over, that they'll fight to the death. I'm talking about these people.
Well, she did.
She did.
Now, I'm curious as to who that will be. I'm sure we'll get her story eventually.
Well, she was from San Diego. She was from San Diego. Her name's Ashley Babbitt.
Okay.
She's a 35-year-old Ocean Beach resident. She was in there. She was both loyal as well as extremely passionate about what she believed in. She loved this country. She felt honored to have served in the armed forces. She was a veteran, 14 years in the U.S. Air Force. So this was a woman who was passionate, but now she's dead.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming anybody for her death other than herself.
Who else should you blame?
You can't do that.
If you were going to blame anybody besides her, you'd have to blame the guy at the microphone telling him march to the Capitol and tell him you don't like this.
Absolutely. And I don't know. The last thing this country needs is another trial or hearing about a president's conduct. It is the last thing we need is to dredge all this stuff up again. But the best thing Trump should have done when he lost is just to shut up and go away. You lost. Now, you think about the impact this is going to have on his business. We could debate how successful it is. No one really knows but him. But his legacy now, and I think this is a good thing, his kids can never run for office, right? None of them.
If your name's Trump, you never will be in office again.
Correct. And that's at any level because of this. And that, good, bad, or indifferent, I don't care how you feel about him, but that is Trump's legacy now, is the images that were on our screens all day and all night last night. Those images are never going away. It just is. That guy with his feet sit up in
Nancy Pelosi's
desk will never go away. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
That's the poster child now. That's going to be the poster boy for what Trump's presidency was. And that wasn't what Trump's presidency was, by the way. And I'll get into later today about how he stood up to China and how he stood up to the UN and how he brought jobs back to this country. That should be his legacy. But his legacy is going to be some beer-swilling redneck with his hunting boots up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. And when I say beer-swilling redneck, I know a lot of beer-swilling rednecks. Matter of fact, I've been called a beer-swilling redneck before myself. But we have, you know what we have?
We know it's not you.
You know what we have?
Well, we know that's not you in that picture because you would never have shoes on.
Right.
So,
but you know what we have? We have dignity. These people showed no dignity. They showed no honor. They showed no understanding of the United States of America and the Constitution. That's what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know where do we go from here if as the Republican Party?
I don't know.
Where do we go from here?
Let's take a break and we'll discuss that on the other side. You're listening to Ocala Talks on a Thursday edition. We'll be right back after this short timeout.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
People ask me why I've worked at Palm Garden for so long, and I tell them it's the people. I love to hear the life stories, especially those from the greatest generation. Celebrating life stories is what sets Palm Garden apart, finding out what's important to them. And I love being a resource. Like Macy's Santa, if I can't help, I'll send them to Gimbel's. After all, Palm Garden is located on 34th Street. I'm Jan from Palm Garden. Call me and let's chat. 854-6262.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz on a somber Thursday morning, less than 24 hours removed from hooligans, that's all I can call them, hooligans, storming and breaching the Capitol. But I will tell you this, Galen, before we get into the discussion about where the Republican Party go, the response by the Capitol Police and by the state, by the local police and all, was a little lackadaisical at the beginning, and I think was a little underwhelming and allowed these people to breach their lines and get to where the real cops were, the Capitol Police, the Secret Service, who they don't play. Those Treasury Department men don't play, and we found that out in the worst possible way with a woman getting shot and dying. We don't know whether the Capitol Police did it or Secret Service Police did it inside the Capitol. So, you know, I think there's going to be plenty of blame, Galen, to go around everywhere on how this escalated and how it took so long to get it back under control.
Well, you know, and now there's reports that Trump was delaying the release of the National Guard. And, you know, my wife and I were talking about it last night. He has handled the last 6 months
like a 4-year-old.
He has handled everything wrong. He just has, and I think the true crisis has started to come. You know, I don't think there were any right answers with COVID-19 in the beginning. You know, after about July, but he so quickly turned it into a political movement, and he has been the key of that. And I've said this: there's nothing political about COVID. How we handle it should be a conversation. And I think we handled it way overboard. I'm on board with that.
People forget, they don't want to remember that he said, I may not send ventilators to Michigan because the governors there are not very nice to me.
Correct, and you can't do that.
Remember that? He said he may not send ventilators because the governor's not very nice to him.
Yeah, and that's not who we are as a people. You know, I don't believe in the lockdowns. I don't think those are good. I would have never shut down in March. But he could have been remembered for the guy who got the vaccine out before the end of the year, right? And made all those ventilators. But instead, he made it all about the politics and red state versus blue state. And that's just not who we are. Rise above it.
Yeah.
At one time in his presidency, he could have risen above it, and he never did. He never once rose above it, and I think that's why he lost the election.
You talk about where does the Republican Party go after this. I want to read you just two. I have two of them here. Today I had literally 13 emails, and there were five phone calls left on the answer machine, all about what happened yesterday. But I'm going to read two of them that struck me as the heart of the issue of what you just asked. What are we going to do about the Republican Party? This one from Joyce. I'm ashamed at calling myself a Republican. This was disgraceful. Then Frank called in and said, I didn't vote for a president that incites riots. This is disgraceful. That's where the Republicans are right now, or some of them. That's where I'm at right now.
Me too. And you know, there are a lot of people who were never Trumpers, right? And I don't know if that's the right way to go, but I do know all of those never Trumpers are now justified. And maybe the next time we have a president run on the Republican Party, you know, character will matter again. You know, that when we elected Reagan, well, I didn't, I wasn't old enough, but you know, when Reagan was elected, he talked about character and the quality of his character. You could have even said that about George Bush. George Bush was far from perfect, but he had a lot of character.
I am proud.
He stood up for what he believed.
I'm proud to say that I was 18 years old in 1984. So I was able to vote for what I think is the greatest president in my lifetime for his second term, Ronald Reagan. Who, by the way, is a fraternity brother as well. He's a TKE.
Oh, well, there you go.
He's a TKE just like I am. So,
there you go.
But I felt proud to have voted for Ronald Reagan. I will tell you this. I feel proud. I can say this myself. I feel proud after the showings of yesterday. And I usually don't talk about how I vote. But I can tell you I feel proud that in 2016, I wrote in John Kasich's name. And in 2020, I voted for everything on that ballot except president. I left it blank. I haven't told people that before because I will not vote for Joe Biden. But I am now proud to say, after what I saw yesterday, I'm proud to say my conscience is clear. I voted John Kasich as a write-in in 2016, and I left it blank in 2020.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of people are having regret if they voted for Trump today. I am. Again, that's why I Mike Pence was a guy I thought had a lot of.
His career's ruined now.
Loyal.
Mike Pence's career is over.
Yeah, but he was so loyal, right? You can say a lot of things about him.
Loyalty
weird,
to the end. Loyal.
But he can never run for election, and I thought he was a guy of great character. At least it seemed to be. He had the president's back, and but anybody associated with Donald Trump now is dead.
That was Donald Trump, and what happened yesterday was the nuclear option. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I was just so when he said that, when he came out and said, go
to the Capitol and have your voice heard. Yeah, Pence is a coward.
Like that's just never. That's never going to happen.
His exact tweet was, Mike Pence doesn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they have asked to previously certify. USA demands the truth.
It's over. You know what I mean? It's just over.
I'm disgusted.
It's a sad day. My hope is that Biden takes his opportunity instead of really, sticking a knife in all the Republicans and making sure they're dead. He takes this opportunity and says, we're not gonna investigate Trump. We're just gonna move on, and maybe Biden's the guy who can heal us.
We're at a crossroads. Joe Biden enters his presidency at a crossroads. Hey, Galen, tell us where the Bloodmobile is today.
Hey, today we're at the Walmart out in the Shores and also at Frank DeLuca YMCA. Please give blood. Please, please, please.
Galen, have a good rest of your day, pal. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, man. Thank you. God bless America. Bye, all.
He's so right. On a day like today, you just got to get down on your knees and pray that God still blesses America. We'll be right back.
Casting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pride.
As Stop the Steal protesters rushed Capitol Hill on Wednesday, the Electoral College certification of President-elect Joe Biden was completed after the delay.
The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for Vice President of the United States are as follows. Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received